The E-flite DRACO 2.0m smart RC bush plane is unlike any other.
This is by far the most detailed RC plane that we've ever seen in our lives, and we're going to unbox it, build it, and give you a complete overview. Coming up. Welcome back, and before you watch this video, stop what you're doing right now, go order yourself one, links down below, then you can come back and you can thank us later because this is one epic RC plane.
The DRACO from Horizon Hobby is an exact replica of the real thing, and being officially licensed by Mike Patey, who built the real one, you can be sure to know that all of the details down to the rivets are going to be accurate.
This has an enormous 2-meter wingspan, it is 60s capable, and it has all the latest and greatest technology that Spectrum have to offer, including the AS3X and safe modes that should keep your plane in one piece, unless of course the battery comes disconnected mid-flight, which may have happened to us. Now we've got the bind and fly model, which means you do need to provide your own radio, and we'll get to the radio that we'll be using and recommend later on in this video.
Now there's so many cool features with this plane, and we're going to be looking at that soon, but first let's get this beast out of the box.
I have not opened this box yet. This is the first time, and I am excited. Oh, such a beautiful big box. Here we go. Here we go. That's our biggest plane at the moment, Spitfire. This thing is like 30% bigger.
That's my plane right there. Right there.
There's that one right there. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that propeller blade. No. This part's really easy. Put through the carbon fiber spar. This is what I love about this RC plane. Is check this out. There are no like little cables you got to worry about, and then try and squish them in. They just plug straight in like that. I wish all RC planes were like that. Like a Spitfire, the Ava Spitfire. I wish I had this. This is like amazing. This is a big deal, man.
Just like that.
And you put these little things on the bottom to keep the wings into place.
Guys, we said the Spitfire was detailed, and it is, but if you're comparing this, which is, let's say PS5 graphics, then the Spitfire is like PS1 graphics. Now I'm going to let Joe take over and he's going to tell you all about the features that come on this plane.
We'll start this overview at the front of the plane and we'll work our way down. There is so much to cover because there are so much cool details and features with this RC plane. Starting off with the nose, we have a 4-bladed propeller blade, and don't be worried if you see that your motor is a little bit offset. That is completely normal. In fact, you'll find that on almost every single RC plane, including the real thing, and that is because on the downgoing propeller blade side you get more thrust than on the upgoing propeller blade side, so you actually get an offset thrust line or asymmetric thrust, and normally that's going to cause the plane to one of your left. So to counteract that, the engine is offset just slightly, so that is completely normal if you see that. And that's true for a propeller blade that rotates clockwise when viewed from the cockpit. Now at the front you'll also see there is an LED light. Now this plane has 17 LED lights. You've got everything from navigation lights, strobe lights, beacon lights, landing lights, logo lights, even the instrument panel inside the cockpit lights up, and that is just absolutely insane. Once you lift up this hatch at the front, which is magnetized, you'll find some electronics and your battery tray. So the manual recommends 4,000 to 7,000 milliamp LiPo batteries, and it can support anywhere from 4-cell to 6-cell LiPos. You've got a 400 kV brushless outrunner motor, and accompanying that is a 100 amp Spectrum Smart ESC. Looking at some more scale details this plane has, you've got your exhaust, so you've got some steps that go up into this beautiful looking cockpit, which you have access to at the rear. There is another latch which is magnetized. That way you can get into your cockpit, and you can also put cameras if you want to put for some epic onboard footage, and you know we'll be doing that when we take this for its maiden flight. There's also another latch beneath that one which is magnetized, and this is where you'll have access to your receiver, and they are using the Spectrum AR637 TA 6-channel receiver. And while on the topic of these latches and covers, that's one thing this plane does really well. There is easy access to all your components on this plane, including the servos. You've got little doors covering up the servos. With a few screws you can unscrew that and then get access to your servo to make adjustments. So really good, really easy access to all the components on this aircraft. Now moving down, looking at the undercarriage, you'll see we've got officially licensed King shocks, not only on the main landing gear, but also on the tail gear as well. And they function really nicely as suspension. These massive wheels are going to allow you to take off on some longer grass or maybe some loose stones, and along with this suspension, that's also going to help that and help with getting some smooth landings. There's also carbon fiber reinforcement in the main landing gear. In fact, there's quite a lot of carbon fiber throughout this plane reinforcing it, including the horizontal stabilizer and the main spar, which is very tough carbon fiber. Now, of course, we've taken the wings off at the moment because this plane is enormous and it barely fits in the studio, let alone with the wings on. But that's a really cool thing about this plane. It's easy to take the wings off in a couple of minutes, easy to put them on in a couple of minutes, and that makes for really good transportation. Now, the wings on this plane, there's a lot to talk about on the wings. They're very detailed. You can see all the panel lines and rivets. There's just so much attention to detail here. You're on the leading edge, you've got your slat and slot. That's going to help provide extra lift and allow you to fly at higher angles of attack. At the rear, you've got a massive aileron that has a mass balance on it, and this isn't just for looks. This is actually a functioning mass balance. The mass at the end here, they're using lead or some kind of metal, so it actually does bring the center of gravity forward close to the hinge line, and that's to help prevent flutter from occurring. A flutter, well, if you ever got flutter, that can be very, very dangerous. It can lead to crashes. If you want to know more on flutter, you can go check that out on YouTube. The flaps, they are slotted flaps that provides a slot in between the flap and the wing, and that helps to re-energize the boundary layer and delay separation, making the flaps more effective. Once again, it allows you to fly a lot slower, produce more lift, and that's great for stool type planes and bush planes when taking off and landing into small little strips amongst the terrain. It's got a winglet at the end there that helps reduce induced drag. It's also got wing fences on this wing, and what a wing fence does is it produces a little vortex that helps also delay separation, increasing lift. It also acts as a bit of a boundary to the span-wise flow. This also helps to reduce induced drag just like the winglet does. So there is so much cool stuff going on this wing. We could talk about wings all day long. It's also got a wing skid here at the wingtip of each wing, and it's actually out of metal, so it does function properly too. That's enough about the wing. Let's move down further on the fuselage. You'll see you've got some antennas. So you've got two antennas on top, one on the fuselage, one on the upper side of the wing. You've got an antenna on the bottom of the fuselage. Now these antennas are metal as well, so just more detail going on there. At the back, you've got a massive tail fin area and horizontal stabilizer. Now, these control surfaces are huge, and that's why you'll see we've got an aerodynamic balance on both the rudder and elevator. So here of the hinge line, you have a portion of that control surface protruding forward. Now, what that does is it changes the position of the center of pressure, making it easier to move these control surfaces. So in a real plane, it means it's going to be easier to control. Remember, you've got this massive motor at the front, loads of power, loads of slipstream, and that's loads of air going over that control surface, making it hard to move. So aerodynamic balances are going to make it easier to move. And for RC planes, it also has a function. It means less stress on the servos. So that means a longer life with your servos, which, by the way, are metal geared, which is pretty awesome. And on the bottom there, you see your tail wheel that has, like I said earlier, that officially licensed King shock, which I think is just awesome, and it functions really well. And then you'll see this fin here. This is a ventral fin that helps with the directional stability of this plane. And look, I could talk on and on about this plane. There's just so much going on, but I don't want to bore you guys anymore. So if you want to know more information on this plane, it's going to be linked down in the description below for you guys. And let me tell you something, if it's in stock or it's in stock soon, put your order in and thank me later. This is seriously an RC plane to own. If you're a pilot, a real pilot, but you're not into RC planes, this is still a fantastic plane to buy and put on the shelf. And eventually you can build up your skill with a beginner-friendly plane. And we'll leave a beginner-friendly plane link down below as well if you guys have never flown an RC plane before to get into it. And then once you build your skill up, you're confident on a beginner-friendly plane, then you can level yourself up to something like this, because this is made for more intermediate planes, but it should still be a fairly easy plane to fly because of the safe technology that this plane has in it. And finally, for the radio that we're going to be using, and that's right, we're going to be using, because Amber, she'll eventually level up to this plane. For now, we'll keep her on that little Sheen T28 400mm wingspan, but she'll eventually level up. But for the radio I'm going to be using, it's going to be the Spectrum NX8. And let me tell you something right now, if you guys are looking at getting a radio for your RC planes, don't look anywhere else. Get the NX8 or the NX10. You're not going to regret it. I had a friend that thought he knew better, and he got some other radio, and it was within a couple of weeks, and I was showing off my new radio. In a couple of weeks, he went out and ordered himself one of these. There's so much functionality in this radio. It's very easy to use, and it's very nice to use when actually flying the plane. So highly recommend it. We'll have this linked in the description down below as well.
Well, that was a whole lot of plane gibberish, Joe, but I'm sure in time I'm going to learn all about this plane. I can't wait to fly it, and I can't wait to watch you fly it, even though I know how nervous you are. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a like anyway. Make sure you're staying safe out there on your RC adventures.
I'm Joe.
I'm Amber.
Subscribe.
We're the RC Kiwis.
And we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.